Alright, welcome to my first ever YouTube video. Uh, as I record this, it is March 8th, 2020, and the subject on everyone's mind is the novel coronavirus that has infected about 100,000 people in the world right now. Currently, there is a shortage of N95 masks, and that's what this video is about today. I am not a doctor. I am not giving you medical advice. The purpose of this video is to help you if you feel that you need an N95 mask, which again, I'm going to defer back to the professionals. You should listen to your doctor, you should listen to the experts. But if you feel that you need additional protection for your family, I'm going to show you the one way that you can get to that. The idea for this video came from Full Spectrum Survival, talking about how you may be required to use protection when you go out, and that there's not availability of N95 filters. Additionally, Reality Survival did a live post last Sunday evening where he had Che on, who offered one idea of how to make an improvised N95 mask using a gas mask. I put the two of these together, and this is what I came up with. This uses a gas mask to help get to that level. It has the added bonus that many hooded suits, such as the Tyvek suits or surplus nuclear, biological, and chemical suits, are made to meet up to gas masks. The components of a gas mask filter are activated charcoal sandwiched between two HEPA filters, encapsulated in metal. Generally, the filter becomes unusable for NBC applications after about 8 hours of use due to the charcoal becoming saturated from absorbing too many contaminants. The HEPA filter loses effectiveness if it gets wet, but because it's sealed in metal, you don't ever touch it. It will, however, eventually get clogged, rendering the filter worthless. Additionally, over time, the glue that holds the HEPA filter to the side of the canister may degrade after extended period of use or expiration, which will also render your filter not usable for nuclear, biological, chemical applications. However, for our purposes today, it doesn't matter. Even during the shortages right now, there are still many old-style masks and many expired filters on the market from surplus sites. My goal is to extend the natural protective properties of these masks and allow my family additional resiliency. This build uses an Israeli gas mask, an expired Israeli gas mask filter, a MERV 2000 furnace filter. This material is rated for to filter 95% of particles from 0.3 to 10 microns. Sound familiar? This is the same rating as an N95 mask. Using the filter that I have in front of me here, there's enough material for about 100 masks. This would cost about $22.97. Additionally, it uses some plumbing components. A 4-inch to 2-inch flex coupling, which cost me $5.83. A 2-inch cleanout adapter for $1.93. And a 2-inch male test plug for 88 cents. The tools needed are a razor blade, a flathead screwdriver, and a drill with a small bit. Now the first step is to sterilize all the components except for the furnace filter. I would recommend that anytime you change the filter material that you sterilize all the components as well. Step 2 is to loosen the screws on the coupling. So I'm going to get my screwdriver. I'm going to find the flathead screws, and I'm going to loosen them up to the point where they're no longer binding on the rubber material. Step 3 is I'm going to fit the filter coupling over the canister. First, I'm going to remove the storing caps on the filter. and it fits loose, but once you tighten it up, it provides a good seal around the gas mask filter. And for demonstration, I'm not going to tighten this down as much as I would if I was actually using the mask for this purpose, just to speed things along here. This is the same component that people use to fix cracks in their PVC plumbing in the sewage stack of their house. So I am confident that if it's water and sewage tight, that it will be airtight for our purposes, as water molecules are actually smaller than viruses. Once we've tightened that screw up in step 4, we're going to cut our filter material. And again, I'm going to try to get this in frame, but we see that a 2000 level filter is MERV 11. It does not small enough to stop viruses. It is, however, small enough to stop virus carriers. That's what happens when the virus bonds to dust or water vapor. And as you can see, it traps up to 95% of airborne particles, from 0.3 to 10 microns. So I'm going to open this box up and take out my filter material. Now you'll notice that this is kind of like an accordion, and when this is properly installed in your furnace, every layer has the air has to pass through 2 levels. So when we cut this out, we're going to cut it out so that it uses 2 layers and not 1. So I'm going to take my clean out adapter, center it, take my razor blade, cut out an area that's large enough around to cover the empty hole in the middle. I'm going to take this off camera. Now, I'm going to place my furnace filter material over the non-threaded end of the cleanout. So if you can see here, and it's very hard to show on this camera, that there's a threaded end and a non-threaded end. I'm going to place my furnace filter material over the non-threaded end, and I'm going to take this rubber band to hold it in place while we're finishing fitting. As you can see, I've now secured the furnace filter in place for our next step. I'm going to fit the cleanout into the coupling. So again, here's our coupling that's on our gas mask canister. I'm going to fit this, which this one is still fitting too tightly, so I'm going to loosen this up just a little bit more. So once I have this fitted, I'll notice that you need to inspect the inside to make sure that there's no rips. Now when I was putting this in, I actually created a small rip. So I would actually take this material right now and either discard it or attempt to move it over so that there is no rips or gaps in our material. For the purposes of demonstration though, I'm just going to leave that and move on to the next step so we don't make an hour-long video here. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to trim the excess off of our extended filter material. Oops. And I am doing this because if there was precipitation, I wouldn't want my filter material to run backwards into the filter and render it all expired before, render it useless before the actual filter would stop working normally. Our next step is to tighten the screw-on coupling. And again, if I was doing this for actual use right now, I would remove this and any leftover material. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to drill holes in our test coupling. This is in our male test plug. Get this material moved off to the side, and this is very easy. It's very strong material. It's Schedule 40 PVC. It drills through very easily. And I'm going to continue to drill holes until I have enough holes where I can breathe easily through that filter, through that plug. I'm going to save time here. I'm going to use one that I've already drilled significantly. I have holes on the sides, and I have holes here. And this is, again, just to protect the filter material from any precipitation or any anything else that could degrade our filter before our furnace filter material before it's time. So the last step I'm going to do here is thread this on. Now that I have it tightened in place, I would then thread my canister onto my gas mask. Now you'll notice this adds significant bulk to our gas mask, which we'll get to in a moment. So the pros of this is it extends the usefulness of obtainable or already purchased gear with a low cost obtainable components. It allows for easy filter replacement by simply loosening up this screw, pulling out our test coupling, and then cutting new furnace filter material. Making sure every time to sterilize and inspect to make sure that there's no rips or tears in our furnace filter material. It utilizes remaining gas mask filters ability as a backup to screen for any furnace filter particles. As you can see, sometimes it creates small fibers, and we don't want to be breathing that in and getting saved from a virus, but then getting lung issues down the way because we breathe in a bunch of industrial waste. This helps shield. Oh, and we also are able to help shield our furnace filter material by using plumbing, stuff that's meant to work in wet environments. We're shielding that. The cons of this are it's very bulky and it adds weight. This adds about 18 ounces to our existing gas mask and filter, which does put strain on the base of your neck on extended wear. There's no way to guarantee the results. And it still relies on having the components at the beginning of an emergency before there's shortages in kind of our second tier, or second or third tier materials out there that people could be using. In my opinion, this is still better than nothing. Walking around with no mask or with just a t-shirt wrapped around your head is definitely a worse choice than this. This doesn't excuse bad hand hygiene. Because if you get your hands contaminated and then touch your face after you remove your gas mask in a safe area, then you've just negated the use of your filter. But this is just one option that you can use. There's plenty more out there. There's plenty other YouTube videos out there on how to improvise filters. Your best choice is obviously not being around sick people or using commercially available and certified filters if you do need to be around, or certified respirators if you do need to be around sick people. This is probably the fourth or fifth tier option, but it is something that is available out there right now, even during protective equipment shortages like we're seeing right now in March of 2020. Feel free to leave any criticism or alterations to this design below in the comments. I don't have a monopoly on good ideas, or in this case, probably bad ideas. So thanks for your time, and stay safe out there.